This is the third battle between Danko of the TWR clan and Trollyboli, also of the TWR clan. Trolly will be commanding Pontus and Danko will be commanding Baktria on Nemetocenna. For Trolly we have 6 Pontic swords, 3 mercenary Celtics, Cappadocians, Pontic Royal, Cappadocians, Pontic Royal, Thureos, 2 Thureos, 4 mercenary Scythian horse, and that is it. 1 Eastern archer only. So horse archers starting to skirmish early on, neither of them getting good volleys off on their opponents because they both kite away. For Danko we have 4 mercenary Scythian horse, we have a line of 6 thorax, 4 Bactrian noble horse, Bactrian royal general, 2 eastern javelins, 2 hillmen. So in terms of infantry, ever so slight advantage to Pontus here. Skirmishing, ever so slight advantage to Danko. In terms of cavalry, I'd say it's dead even. These Bactrian noble horse are going to do well against Cappadocians. More armor. The Cappadocians actually have a higher melee attack, so that works in their favor. Melee defense 42 versus 37. So these are very similar units, but the Bactrian noble horse does have a significant amount of armor more. They are also more expensive. So here Danko is starting to get the worse of the skirmish fight because Trolly is pushing up his Thureos. Very annoying for Danko, I'm sure. But these Pontic swords, the problem with the Pontic swords, although their melee attack is higher, well, it's not higher, it's lower actually, than the thorax. Although they have a decent amount of armor, they only have 50 health and 50 morale, so even against something like thorax swords, they're going to really struggle because they have 10 less health, less melee defense, less charge, well, the same charge. And in these skirmish engagements, it's so micro intensive when you have the same range as your opponent. But I like what Trolley is doing here and using his Thureos to eat fire and to screen, but so many arrows being baited here by both sides. Thureos getting some fire thrown into them, but combat between 125 range horse archers is very funny in that they both struggle to get hits off on their opponent. Trolley might get some good hits off here if Danko doesn't put away in time. Danko almost manages to kite the missiles, but not quite. Kited a significant amount of them though. Got some nice shots off on the Thureos here, but Thureos kills, not super valuable kills. And these Thureos are 1 charge away from being wrecked by Bactria Noble Horse. So that could be a good idea by Danko here. As long as he supports with his mercenary Scythian horse, then he could push away the mercenary Scythian horse of Pontus and charge the Thureos with the Bactrian cavalry. Might be risky because if he eats volleys on the Bactrians, then that would be very bad. Even hillmen, Bactrian hillmen, can do well against units like Thureos. Thureos spears have horrible melee stats. 24 melee attack, 25 weapon damage. It looks like Danko is going to go for it now, but this has allowed Trolley the time to push up his Pontic cavalry. And the Bactrian Noble Horse starts to eat some volleys here. Not using heavy shot yet, so this isn't super dangerous for them, but when the Thureos get charged here, this is going to allow Trolley to counter perfectly with his Cappadocians, blocking the charge a bit with his own units. But this is a good engagement for Trolley and a bad engagement for Danko, because Trolley has spears in here, Danko does not. And firing into the blob is Trolley, not using heavy shot yet. Danko, closer in support with his infantry, is going to rush in and support the fight. So this could allow him to pull out the Bactria Noble Horse, and he is indeed pulling out the Bactria Noble Horse. Bactrian hillmen and thorax should wreck the Thureos. They are going to take a lot of fire in the process. Danko doing a good job in refusing this flank, pulling back while he is damaging the Thureos. The Bactrian hillmen are taking some fire ashore, getting a nice block off on the Celtic warriors, then rushing in with thorax swords. So this is a decent enough engagement for Danko actually. Getting charges off with his thorax. These two thorax should do very well against Celtics, and again blocking the charges, sending in the hillmen. Quite like what Danko is doing here, getting charges off against the Cappadocians. Getting the thorax swords into the mix. This Pontic Royal Cavalry might make it through, it might get stuck, but no, it is making it through. Very important here for Trolly in getting into the mercenary Scythians. Managed to charge this Bactrian noble horse that was stationary. On this flank we have a mass of cavalry engagements. Bactrian Royal Guard coming in against the Cappadocian cavalry. Pontic units breaking, hillmen breaking, Bactrian hillmen breaking. These units are pouring in the fire, but they're about to get charged by Pontic swords. Thorax swords up against two units of Pontic swords. The Cappadocians, now they are pulling out and getting hit. Bactrian noble horse charging into the center, going to give these Pontic swords a really nice charge. Also eating some javelins, the Bactrian noble horse. So over here the thorax swords got charged by Pontic Royal Cavalry. The Pontic Royal Cavalry is taking damage from javelins, so getting these javelins off the field would be very nice for Trolley. He's getting his mercenary Scythian horse archers shot here by another mercenary Scythian horse archer. Danko is. And here the Baktria noble horse is starting to defeat the Pontic Royal Cavalry, but it's getting attacked by Thureos, which is not going to be a good time for it. Bactrian noble horse losing, being fired upon. Eastern javelins being fired upon as well. This Pontic sword is about to break. In the infantry engagement, it starts to look very good now for Danko. No free cavalry for Trolley except for this Pontic Royal. And it hasn't gotten a great amount of kills yet, but it is going to get a good charge off on this Bactrian noble horse. Mercenary Scythian destroyed. This Bactrian noble horse is not going to do well against the Thureos and Pontic Royal Cav. This Bactrian noble horse getting wrecked, but it is holding these Pontic swords, so they can't hit the rear or hit this blob. But over here, so many units for Trolley. If he's able to clean up this blob, then he could rush over and finish off these fights as well. His general isn't engaged yet, which is good for him. Free cavalry unit of Pontic Royal Cav, and Pontic Royal Cavalry in the late game. Absolutely devastating units. They can do massive damage cycle charging enemy units. Finally, Danko's putting out his Bactrian noble horse. Rushing over here, but he might just rush to his death, because this Bactrian noble horse is very depleted, a lot of hit point damage on them. This one Eastern archer getting a lot of kills here against the thorax swords. Danko desperately rushing in his Eastern javelins. Nice kills on the Eastern javelins, but in this blob, Pontus is just overpowering the thorax swords. Now the general is committed for Danko, but he has one unit here of free thorax, one unit of free Eastern javelins. The units of the Pontic swords are breaking here, so now it's a question of getting something done against this blob, but so many units left for Pontus. Trying to break this unit with Eastern javelins, it broke, it might have broken anyway. Rushing in the thorax swords, this thorax sword is heroically holding out here. This Eastern archer has done so much damage. Pontus charging in against the Eastern javelins. This Eastern javelin unit is off the field. Might have precursors here from the thorax swords, absolutely wrecking these horse archers. But overall, the Pontic units are overwhelming the Bactrian units. Especially here, the thorax swords held out for a long time, but they were just ganged up on significantly. So it helped Danko that he was able to win over here. But now there's just no way. Still ammo left, heavy shot into the back of these units. The Bactrian Royal Guard is getting a lot of kills now, but it's not going to be able to stand up to it's not going to be able to stand up to what Pontus has left, obviously. The Thoreos are starting to waver there, but only 3 units left on the field for Baktria, while Pontus has a unit of hillmen here, then these 2 Pontic swords, and also having the mercenary Scythian horse alive and well for the late game, together with this very dangerous Pontic Royal Cavalry and this Cappadocian, is going to allow rear charges to come in from Pontus for a long time. The general of Pontus might die here though, so that could do a number on the Pontic morale. However, I still think Pontus has enough left to do this. Javelins on the Pontic Royal Cav, but the Thorax swords get double charged by cavalry and they're dropping fast here. Eastern archers rushing into melee to tank some damage maybe. Nope, they turned around. And the Pontic general is wavering now. He's losing the combat decisively. Still Pontic swords here, still cavalry units. So although the Bactrian Royal Guard was able to take out the Pontic general, the thing is that the Pontic general is going to be routing off the field now, and the penalty for the... Oh well, the general died, yeah, so they did manage to kill the general, because the general could actually just be jogging off the field here. And as you can see, it's a long way to the red line, so if the general just kept jogging towards the red line here while being not being killed, then he could actually the penalty could actually not be inflicted before the game is over. And now the Bactrian Royal Guard, monster kills on these guys, very nice kills on these Thorax swords, but they're getting charged from all sides, attacked in the rear, losing decisively. So this is not looking good for Danko at the moment. Trolley doing a good job with his rear charges. And these Eastern archers are holding on. The Bactrian Royal Guard is wavering because of army losses. So much left for Pontus, swinging the balance of power decisively in favor of Pontus here. The Bactrian Royal Guard still 73 morale. It's going to take quite some time to break these units. 2 chevrons on them, that is decent. But so many Pontus units just rushing in here to take care of the Bactrian Royal Guard. And the Bactrian Royal Guard does not have the best spears, which is kind of sad for them. If they had 30 damage and more AP, they would have been very useful. So, Trollyboli defeats Danko 2-1 in this series, getting a significantly higher amount of kills, especially since, well, he had a larger army as well. The Pontic swords not doing as well as the Thorax swords, but adjusted for price they do quite well when supported with these units. Celtic warriors didn't do much, but overall the horse archers here for Trolley, I believe they won him the game because they did so much more damage to Baktria. Look at the kills on the mercenary Scythian horse for Danko. Trolley has more kills on 1 mercenary Scythian horse than Danko has on his 4 units here. And I also think the javelin's a bit of a risky choice for Baktria. Against Pontus, might have been an idea to actually bring hoplites of all things. I'm not sure how that would work out, but the Bactrian Royal Guard got a lot of kills against Pontus because Pontus doesn't have good swords. And the cavalry kind of cancelled each other out, but the Pontic Royal Cavalry and the Cappadocians did a decent job. The Bactrian Noble Horse didn't do much, got charged at some points and wasn't able to be as effective as it can be. So this was in round 3 of the Blue Tournament. Trollyboli advanced. So since I didn't get these battles before now, I'm going to upload them. After round 4 has actually started, because I thought they were some pretty good games. Strength and honor.